Hey guys, welcome back again. For some reason, it's just not connecting today. However, we're going to make this work, right? And so you guys know me, I'm Amy Masters. This is, I don't know, our third or fourth attempt to get TikTok Live going on today, so I greatly apologize. And we have Nikki Pettway with us today, so we're going to start this interview all over again from the beginning because we don't want you guys to miss a thing. Fingers crossed this one's gonna work today. All right, Nikki, I just sent you an invite and we paid for it, but for some reason it wasn't connecting, so hopefully this one will.
Okay, here we go.
There. Hi, Nikki.
Hello.
Sorry about that.
No problem.
And thank you to everybody who is catching up with us again. So I apologize to have to start all over, but I really think that it's important to share your history because you're somebody in our nail industry that we can relate with and we look up to. And so, Nikki, thank you again. And those you guys don't know, Nikki Pettway is our special guest. And I met Nikki just a couple months ago. I saw she was advertising for the Creepy Cool Hands, and I ordered one. And then I started researching her, and she's pretty amazing in our industry. And I wanted to share her with you. And so, again, Nikki is with a client, and thank you for your client being patient, working with us through all of this.
You're welcome.
Yes. Okay. So, hi, Kim, everybody. And Kim is actually watching us from her hospital bed, she says. So, some
Oh,
prayers to you, Kim.
yes, get
And
well soon.
yes. And so, Nikki, I know you just shared with us, but could you share with us again? How did you get started in the beauty industry? And you have to talk about the she shed.
I did, yeah. So as I was saying, I started out. I would do my grandmother's toes when she lived with us, and I would always be down on the floor painting little sunsets and the little M-shaped birds on her toes, and I would beg my dad to get me one of those sheds in the back, like the she shed on the commercial. And I never did get my she shed, but I hope to one day, because I would have loved at 12 or 13 to been doing nails in the backyard. Uh,
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah. After that, I went on and I would do my own and I would do my friends' nails. And eventually I got a job that was very open about changing my schedule as I was the evening shift person. And the school where I'm from only had a night program. So they allowed me to change to a morning shift so I could go to nail school at night. And I've been doing nails ever since.
Oh my gosh. Now, in addition to nails, you mentioned that you're also working at two different hospitals.
Yeah.
What is your field with that?
The way that I deal with that is I only do nails on Saturdays and Sundays, which I guess in a way kind of works out for me because that's typically, most people's busy days. So I take nail clients I take nail clients Saturday and Sunday. But I do have a setup at home. So if I have someone who needs something done urgently or they have a special event and they couldn't get in it on the weekend, I will take them before or after work at home.
Yeah, so many of us are having to work the two different jobs, and sometimes it's so that we can have the insurance benefits from the one job, but then follow our passion with the other. And so I can completely understand,
Yeah.
all of that. But and then you're married. Do you have children as well?
No, I'm not married. Me and my boyfriend, we do live together, but I'm not married yet. And I don't have any children yet. I'm only 29, so I said I'll try to do that by 35.
I hear we got goal setting going on. And
Yeah,
then it's so true that when you work as much as you do, you got to put all your time in so that when you do develop your and build your family, you can spend the time with them.
definitely.
However, we make everything happen. We are powerful women.
Yes.
So thanks again for everybody joining in. I'm sorry that there was a little bit of a delay in trying to get us started, but We have Nikki with us. Obviously, she's working on her client. Nikki, what are you doing now? What's your specialty as well?
Definitely my nail art. That is one of my favorite things to do. And, as I was saying earlier, I think the nail art is important. It's fun. I love to try all the new things that come out. Like right now, she did my nail art model special where she kind of let me do my own thing for, a special price and I can just do whatever I want to her. But foundation is so important. And I was saying, the very first time in nail school, everybody came to me because they wanted design, and somebody just asked for a plain nude polish, and it was the bumpiest, most ugly set ever. And I think from that time on, I was like, I can't do nail art until I get my foundation great. So I definitely make an effort to have a beautiful foundation as well as beautiful nail art.
Absolutely. We well know that if the foundation isn't there and the prep's not proper, the nails aren't going to last despite how awesome the nail art might be. And so, where do you find inspiration for your nail art designs?
Everywhere, obviously, people bring me pictures, but sometimes I'll flip through magazines and look at clothes or shoes or just kind of search abstract art on Google and find different things to pull inspiration from. I was at a friend's house recently and she had something hanging on the wall, and I was like, oh, that is so pretty. I have to do that on a nail. So just everywhere.
That's Oh my gosh, that's awesome. I don't know if you saw, but we're actually doing a one nail, one canvas
Mhm.
competition.
Oh,
And it's where you mimic something on any size canvas
mhm.
and on a nail tip. And then you sell the canvas to prove that our artwork is art that would be hung on a wall that would sell for a lot more than the $5 extra that we charge for art.
Yeah.
And so far, I think the top bid is 105 or $107
Wow.
on Sued Quilt's canvas. So those of you, even yourself, Nikki, if you've not taken the time, there's still time. You have till the end of August to sell your canvas. So not only would you have to paint it, but sell it within the month. And then the person that raises the most money off of their canvas gets to choose the charity that all of us donate half of our profits to.
Okay.
So it's pretty exciting. It's a worldwide event from all of us. So yeah. So I hope that you can join in on
Yeah,
that.
I'm definitely going to look into that. I do
I
like to
don't know
paint
when
on
you're going to
canvas
find
as
the
well.
time.
I'll make
Yeah.
time for that.
And so let's talk a little bit about your medical training. So you became a medical nail tech, which took additional courses to do. How long did that take?
It was a work at your own pace program, and I finished it, I believe, in about 2 months. I did it about 6 years ago, so not entirely sure on the time frame it took me, but I think it took me about 2 months to do it. It was Medi Nails Learning Center with Dr. Robert Smalding, and they have an
Mhm.
advanced nail tech program and then a medical nail tech program, and you can do them as a package or one. You have to do the advanced to do the medical, but you can do just the advanced. And I took both of them just because I wanted additional knowledge on how to protect myself and my clients better, because school is going to give you kind of the bare minimum, and I just wanted to go a
Mhm.
step further because, like you said earlier, I work in two hospitals, so I'm also familiar with hospital acquired infections and just the different germs we can pick up from cell phones, people not washing their hands, and people coming in and expecting medical service for a pedicure when they're getting the big basic pedicure. So I wanted to have the knowledge behind me to support me telling them you need to see a physician. So that was something
Yeah.
I chose to do, and I was really glad that I found that program because I was able to do it right after school, so everything else was still fresh in my mind as well.
Yeah, that's a great addition. And people will take you a lot more seriously as a nail tech when they say that you've had the additional training like that. And it is so scary sometimes that even when it comes to like diabetics or anybody with an open wound and things that we don't recognize, that it is best for us to, refer them to a physician. I learned many years ago, to actually team up with the doctors.
Mhm.
And so I've done many programs working with the hospital, with public health, with podiatrists, and I've talked about that many times in my lives. And and it works really well to team up with the medical profession because then they get to do their side that they are trained in, and then we just get to do the pampering side that we're trained in.
Definitely.
And so, yeah, it's a great connection between the two.
Yeah, that's something I'm
Yeah.
definitely interested in doing as well. I just started back taking clients in about a year ago now in Georgia since I moved from Florida because there was a much longer process of transferring my license than I expected.
Mhm.
But I said once I get more situated, I definitely want to reach out to some providers and see about, either coming into the office or having a referral system between myself and them where I can send people to them if I see something I think needs to be evaluated and, vice versa. If they have people they want to send to a trusted nail technician for services, I'd like to be that person.
Oh, you're music to my ears. I've promoted that for years of people teaming up with the local doctors, and some people don't understand how you can connect. And in my mind, I'm like, how can you not
Yeah.
connect? Because there's so many things that we can see. I love hearing that. One of the things that you mentioned was transferring your license from state to state, and I know around the world it's different of how you do with your licensing, but it is difficult because I know, like, even in Wyoming, I had a nail tech that worked for me years ago that even though she'd been licensed for 6 years in another state, when she moved here, she didn't have enough hours and they wouldn't grandfather her in. So they made her go an extra 50 hours,
Wow.
which took her like her 2 weeks,
Yeah.
whatever, and then pay an additional fee to be able to transfer her license. So it's not always as easy as we think that it is. So did
No.
you run into that as well?
Fortunately, I didn't have to take additional hours. Florida only requires, I think, 240, and Georgia requires like over 500. So what they did
Mhm.
was they required me to take their state board test, the written and the practical, and I did have to pay. All in all, it was about $209 for the exam and for the licensing fee. And but first, you have to apply for endorsement. They don't call it reciprocity here. You have to apply for endorsement, and once they grant your approval for that, then you have to schedule a time to go and take the test. And it was definitely a different experience because Florida doesn't have a state board exam. We just took like a test in the classroom, and our teacher,
Mhm.
basically attested to this student is knowledgeable.
Yeah. So seeing the differences from state to state and you living the proof of it, which way do you think is a better way?
I think Georgia requiring more hours is definitely something that is important. I think, I don't feel like I think the reason I did the medical nail tech program is because I didn't feel like I got enough from school because it was only, 4 hours a night for one semester. So I think additional hours is definitely something that is a good idea. And I think more states should require at least, like Georgia, about 600.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. And then is there any continuing education that you're required to do to uphold either one of those licenses?
Just the standard, doing a HIV course every time you renew your license. And I think Georgia, I don't think it expires until 2019. So most of them are like every 2 years, and you just do that 16-hour course during that time period when you're going to renew your license. And that's the only required thing. But I do try to take classes outside of that, with different workshops and anything I can get my hands on, I try to do.
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. And so, yeah, in Wyoming, we don't have any continuing education, which can be very frustrating because we found the same thing. We needed that ongoing education. And so, one of the reasons why I do online workshops, so we can do that. So, talk about education. I always needed a model every time I go live, and my daughter is busy. Let's just say that she just graduated high school and she doesn't have time to be my model anymore. And I was calling upon her girlfriends who are also busy. And so I was tagged in a post to buy one of these hands, which you developed and you made. And so, even though I call them creepy cool, and this one did get named for all of you that was on my live when I was demoing this, I didn't know what to name her. And Delilah came up as one of them, and I shortened it to Lily.
Okay.
So Lily is a very petite name for my hand. And so, Nikki, how did you get into where you started making silicone hands?
I saw different nail techs and different companies making them, and they were just out of my price range. And so I was like, I think I can figure out how to do this. So every time I would see somebody talking about theirs, I would watch their lives, and other people would be asking questions. I would be asking questions. I would pick up tips and tidbits here and there, and I just started going to work searching stuff on the internet, and I have spent probably way more than if I had just bought one, figuring out how to make them. I've spent a couple of thousand just buying supplies. So I played with it, and I had a lot of trial and error. That's why I have the oops hands sometimes. Um, and I played with it until I got it down. And I wanted to make something that would be affordable to people like me who couldn't afford to spend, $300-400 on a hand, but they wanted something more realistic to practice on.
Yes, absolutely. One of the things that really took me to wanting to purchase one of your hands was actually the positioning of the
Mhm.
hand. That when this sits on the glass, it's more of like a hand sitting on there. The knuckles were a little bit bent. Some of them are so straight on,
Yeah.
and the fingers look all awkward and stuff like that, that they weren't real life. And so honestly, I've taken pictures using this hand, and it does look like a real hand.
Wow.
So I don't know, who was your model, or is this your hand?
No, that's not my hand. Unfortunately, I did my hands the very first time I did them, and it ended up looking like a bus driver hand. I was like, oh, whose ugly hand is that? So I didn't like my hand at all. That is my boyfriend's sister's best friend. So, I mean, I guess she's become a friend of mine as well now, but she lives really close to me. So that one is her hand. And then I have another one here that I started making, and I used one of my coworkers. This one, it kind of sits up on the table so you can work with it standing, and it sits up flat like
Yes.
that. So these are some glow in the dark nails that I did on mine. So I have both kinds, the one that lays flat like that, and then I'm doing these. And tonight, hopefully, I will be making a left hand. So I have a model coming over tonight, so I'll have a third person's hands in my collection. Um, we'll see how that left hand turns out because I've had some people ask for that.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, Nikki, when you talk, you glow about it. You can tell that this is not only fun for you, but
Thank you.
you're feeling a need in our industry. I really liked one, your pricing was definitely a good price point. And I had watched Kirsty Meakin on Neo Nails. She did a YouTube of trying to create these hands.
Mhm.
And I think after many times of trying and attempting it, she finally had said kind of the same thing,
Yeah.
like, just go buy one.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you can make it, but what you're going to spend in trial and error. So I appreciate that you've taken the time to do all the trial and error to produce something that I feel is high quality in this
Thank
industry.
you.
I have a little bit of a funny story about this hand. You guys know that I'm never really serious all the time. I do like to joke around a lot. And my daughter is a perfect person to joke around with. So I knew that this hand was coming. And so the day that I received the notification, I thought, she loves to open up my nail mail. I'm going to have my daughter open this up for me. And so I was down in my studio and I yelled up to see if she would open up my mail for me. And she's like, yeah. So she comes down all her bubbly self and she opens up this package and it's, put in nice wrapping and tissue paper. And she opens it up and there's this like real life hand and she freaked out. It was the greatest moment. That's how real life and the weight and everything that this is. And so it was just fabulous. I loved being able to. I wish I would have recorded that. It would have been priceless.
Yeah, I had a very similar situation. I went through a drive-through and I had my nail bag on the passenger seat, and this is just sticking up out of the side. And the girl was like, "I thought you cut off somebody's hand," and I was like, "Why would you point it out? Your hand's gonna be next."
I know. Do you find now that you're in the market of making hands that you start looking at people's hands a little bit differently?
I do, definitely, because even like when I did mine, my very first ones that I did, my fingers are bigger, so my fingers touch more. So I found that, I'm looking at people like, let me stretch your hand over here. She has this nice little petite hand, and I'm like, oh, she has these, spaces in between her fingers. So she would be a great model as well, but she's already getting service today, so we couldn't use her. But I definitely am always checking people's hands out, and I do compensate my models for their time. I always, either I think the first girl I did her 3 or 4 times trying to get it right, and so the first time she got a gel manicure, the second time she got a pedicure, and the last time I was like, I'll just give you money. I don't have any more services for you.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Uh-oh. Don't tell me we're having technical difficulties again. It kind of froze. Ah, come back. Or wait, should I use this? Come back. Ah, are you guys there with me? Or did I just... Yep, you guys are still with me. I just lost Nikki for some reason. You know, it's always a trial of me trying to figure out how to do all of this over and over. And I'm thinking I'm becoming finally a true pro. Okay, Nikki, I'm gonna... Here's the hand.
Oh, shoot. Hold on. Oh, hold on just a second. I got a call and it knocked it off.
Oh, that's okay. That happens.
Okay.
Oh, it looks like we might have... There it is.
Okay, can you
So
still hear me?
So I noticed that your hand that you have when I was looking at your website this morning, that hand is actually on there and it's beautiful with the rings and stuff on it. So I do need to get some rings put on my hand as well. But you also had a picture where you had your bag in your car and you did have the hands there. I think there was like 3 hands sticking up out of the bag. And I remember that post because it did kind of catch my eye too at the same
Oh,
time.
yeah.
So it's kind of it's done that. Um, so you have a video of how we can actually soak these in acetone, which I've done a couple times already. And they come with primers and stuff. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about the care that we can do with these hands?
Yeah, you can definitely, you're able to soak them in the acetone. The YouTube video that I have shows how to apply tips. And you'll text back for me, please. Just tell them it's you. Sorry. The YouTube video tells you how to apply tips. It tells you how to take them off. Shows you. I think it does show me applying product to the nail and everything. So that definitely is something that is worth watching. I do get a lot of questions. Can you soak the hand? Can you, do X, Y, Z with it? And you can definitely do all of that. Do what? Oh yeah. I left my iPad at home. I had to use my phone. Sorry. Sorry, that's my boyfriend. He was trying to call me and it was knocking the live off. But yeah, if you do soak it, sometimes if you soak it for too long, you might see the fingers swell a little bit. But if you let it sit for a day or so, they go right back down. So it's not something that is going to damage it in any way. You do want to still be careful with not cutting it like with your e-file or anything, and that's more lifelike in that sense. You can cut it just like you can cut a client.
Yeah, yeah. And so the hand that you came with me came with some tips, and of course I had decorated up those tips, and when I soaked off it, soaked off my tip with it. And so I have applied new tips, and in I'm not joking when I say this, in the very early 2000s, I did extreme nail art, which is funny because it's just coming back again. I'm talking like the floating
Yeah.
beads, a maze on the nail, the water nails and stuff. So I decided I was going to master up another maze nail. So
Oh, that's
here was my platform for my maze
pretty.
nail. I don't have it built up enough yet for a bead to sit in there, and then you cap over it with clear, and then you actually have a bead go through the nail. And I'm going to create a workshop for extreme art, and I'm bringing back some of the stuff from the 90s
Oh
and the
yeah.
early 2000s.
That is awesome. Yeah, I did the spinning bead nails. Not quite that early because I didn't start until 2013. So about that time, I did do a spinning bead nail, and it was just so cool. I would sit there all the time, just spinning it around.
Yeah. And so what's fun about the hands is that I don't have clients that are willing to let me do that on them anymore. It seems like my clients are playing it a lot safer these days. And so being able to have this hand does allow me to do a little bit more of the extremes. I call it my alter ego wants to come out and do what I really want to
Yes,
do.
definitely. That's
Oh, that's
why,
wonderful.
yeah, I use my hand for that often as well. And then I do things like this little nail art special so I can do some of the more extreme stuff. And it's a little disappointed I forgot my fishnet today for the design that I wanted to do on her, but we're going to do something awesome anyway.
Oh, I can't wait to see. So I hope that you actually post a picture of those nails when you're
Oh,
done.
definitely.
Yeah, wonderful. So Nikki, I don't want to take up too much more of your time because I know with you're a client, but what's next on your goal list? I know that you want a she shed.
Yes, I do
I
want to
just like
share.
saying
I
it,
do.
she shed.
I would love to get into teaching and more so, I mean, I would like to do a lot more products, but I definitely want to get into teaching. That was always kind of in my 5-year plan was, and I'm at year 6 now, and I did stop for about a year and a half, but I wanted to get licensed as an instructor because I did feel like while my nail teacher, she was very nice, I don't feel I got a full range of knowledge from nail school. And I think a lot of people feel like they get the bare minimum. And I would love to be able to offer a program that gave you the foundation and the nail art side of it, give people more realistic expectations for once they start working in a salon and things to expect, things not to expect, and not to tolerate. Because I see a lot of people, being paying commission, but still, I mean, being paid by commission, but still providing their own products and stuff like that. And, I don't think a lot of people understand if it's commission, they should be supplying you, you know, and things
Yes.
like that. I just kind of want to give everybody kind of some real world working experience. And I think I have a great firsthand experience with co-owning the salon, how much the business side of it takes. It's not just being able to do pretty nails. There was so much more involved than I was expecting. And the ladies who I was with, that's something you have to really know and trust the people that you're going into business with. And I learned that the hard way, but that's something I would love to be able to share with others so they know, like you do with your children, you don't want them to make the same mistakes that you did. So I can't wait to be able to do that one day.
Absolutely. In Georgia, what does it take for you to become an instructor? And there's a difference in the instructors. There's your instructor that is going to license non-trained. You're going to actually get the tech license.
Mhm.
And then there's the instructors that once you're licensed, they can go to the next step. And so that's where I fall into.
Okay.
And so which do you want to train to get your license, or do you want to train the more advanced parts?
I would love to train so that I can train people to get their licenses. Originally, I did want to open a school or something, but I don't know, you know, how much that's still a goal of mine right now. But it is something that is still an interesting thought if I did change my mind and want to go back more that avenue, which is, now that I'm saying it out loud, I kind of might. Um, but I mean, I want to do all of it. I want to get more into the advanced side of it. I have done some not quite as extreme as maze nails, but I've done some extreme art and I've done a lot of different things with different people. And I want to be able to grow every way in this industry that I can. And that's, from celebrity nails or, that's not even really necessarily a goal, but getting more like, movie sets and magazines and things like that. I would definitely want to move into making more of a name for myself. And I think these hands are a great start. So they will hopefully help get me to where I'm trying to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Nikki, that's what I push for is I've been published so many times and I'm thankful every single time. Like, I don't know that you can be published enough. Every single time it's the greatest feeling. And I can definitely help you with the path of being able to get published and stuff like that. Have you shared your story yet on developing these hands with the magazines and stuff?
I have not. No, I haven't done that yet because I'm still kind of working out the tweaks, and I want to make sure I have a flawless product before I try to go more mainstream with it. I've only really advertised it on Facebook. I've done a little bit on my Instagram, but mostly in the groups that I'm in on Facebook so that I can get some honest feedbacks from nail techs that I kind of interact with on a somewhat regular basis in these groups. And I've gotten some great feedback from people for things that they did like, didn't like, things they would like to see me do differently. And I've been really grateful that people have been honest with me and, not just tell me, oh, it's wonderful, or just ignore me and tell me nothing, so
Right.
it's great.
Nikki, I love your mind. Every time I ask you a question, you say it exactly how I would love to hear. And you're right, about perfecting it first before going the next level. But when you're ready for that and you need some guidance, you just let me know because
Thank you.
I already think that what you're providing is a fabulous product. And I do like your heart and your mind in that. And I love supporting people who are real and they understand our industry and they're just not in it to make all the money. You're in it because you really did fill a need. And so even when it ties into the education side, I'm excited for you to become an educator because your type of teaching, just by talking with you, is exactly what we need.
Thank you.
And I wish there was a universal teaching all around the world where we all got trained the same things.
Yes.
And yeah.
That would definitely be great because, the rules are different in every state. And while they're similar, they are still different in every state as far as, files being thrown away and all kind of stuff that I think there should be a universal standard for it so there's not any confusion or debate on what's okay, what's not okay. Because there's even things, when you know better, you do better. And I love my Tammy Taylor Terminator files, but someone made a point to me, they're not, they say washable and disinfectable, but it's still a paper file. I said, now that I think about it, if I forget it and I leave it in my sanitizing solution for too long, it peels away because it's still paper. It's porous. It shouldn't be reused. I went ahead and just bought the peeling sticks. I stopped using them, even though I love them, but I love my peeling sticks too. So I got a bunch of those. I cut them in half and I make it work for me.
Yeah, exactly that. Oh my gosh. Well, again, Nikki, I can't thank you enough for taking the time and sharing with us your heart and obviously your passion in the industry, even if it comes to finding the right hand model to make our creepy, cool lily hand. So,
Awesome. Thank you for
um,
having me.
yeah, and thanks again to your client for being patient. I know we had quite a time trying to connect today, and I know it imposed on her nail appointment, but I know that she can hear us, so thank you
You're in my
so
ear.
much.
She can't hear you, but you're welcome.
Oh,
Yeah. I had to put my
all
earpiece
right.
in because there's people are blow drying in the background and stuff. So I work in a hair salon also, so I didn't want too much background noise. I put the earpiece in so you could kind of just hear me.
Yes, absolutely. And so Shamazine actually, I think it's called Shamazine Nails. She said that she had to do 700 hours to
Wow.
get her license earlier. And then she said, thank you both. Um, so we
Okay.
appreciate all of you that stuck with us on watching Tech Talk Live. So those of you that want to stick around in about another 40 minutes, Kim and I are going to go live again because we just hit 6,000 members in our group
Okay.
and we are doing a giveaway. Kim put together a whole bunch of glitters. And so we just want you to join in live for that. And actually, Shamazine actually just asked us, how can she order the hand?
Oh, and the hands are available on nailsbynikki.com, and that's just NAILS by NIKKI.com. And it's the one that's curved, like this one, is the one that's on there right now. But once I get the left hand up tonight, I will probably add the left hand and, well, it may be Monday, but I will add the left hand and I'm going to add an option to buy a left and right combo. So all of that will be up this week, hopefully. So if you want to take a look at it and see or bookmark my site so you can go back to it, that will be appreciated. There is a mailing list option at the bottom, so you can be the first to know when I have new updates or new products put on my website. I can send you out an email and let everyone know about that.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. And Nikki, you gave me a promo code a while back, and I wanted to see, is that still available for everybody to use?
It is still
I'll look it
available.
up. I'll look it up and I'll post it in the comments for you guys. I believe it's an extra 10 or 15% off or
Yeah, I
something
think it's,
to be able to order.
yeah, we'll double check it because I don't want to say it wrong on here, but it's master something. But we'll double check it and post it in the comments below.
Sounds good. So I'll post nails by Nikki, which if you guys haven't seen her site, it's a cute little site. Great nailer. You can see her passion in the industry. And she did say that she specializes in nailer, which you can see that she does very well. And so again, Nikki, thank you so much for your time. I don't want to take any more. And I appreciate everybody that joined in Tech Talk Live and has supported our group. Appreciate you so very much. And until then, we'll use our hand. Peace out.
Bye. Thank you.
All right.
Bye.